Hello everybody. Hello. This is Lemmy from Motorhead. Who else, right? And you're watching Artisan News, and it serves you right.
She thinks that. We are Motorhead. We play rock and roll.
There were no obstacles. It was fine, you know. I mean, we're pretty good at this now. You know, we've had enough time to rehearse it. No, we finished the movie a long time before we started the album, you know. That was a separate. That was finished in Russia, and we was in Moscow, you know, and then that was finished then, as far as filming was done, you know. I didn't notice that, but I'm sure you're right. Maybe it's the first time they've heard an album by Motorhead, I don't know. If an album gets pushed a bit, and this has been pushed by EMI, you know, so we didn't have that push on the other albums, you know what I mean? So maybe that's the difference, I guess. They've heard it, and they didn't hear the other ones, you know. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty low-key, you know, really. Because I'm fairly low-key unless I've got a bass on me, you know. Like. But there again, it was, I think they did a good job, you know, so maybe it was a fair place to come in. Maybe there was nothing else that week, you know, I don't know. Oh man, our record sales in America have always sucked. Always. I mean, the last album was the first time we got in the top 100. All our lives, you know, I mean, the first time. And that was 89. Yeah, the old record company, the German, you know, record company, they said it sold more already than the last one did in its entire life, you know, so that's good, you know. Oh, you know, I like playing all our stuff, I don't mind, you know. I mean, if we didn't like a song, you wouldn't never have heard it anyway, because it has to get past us before it goes to anybody else. You know, I mean, we have complete control. Always, we insist on it. Which is what a lot of bands don't insist on, and they're wrong, you know, for that. You should learn that early on, you know. Keep control of what goes out. And don't make extra tracks, because they will be on another album somewhere, and you'll be really pissed. I liked a couple of the songs, but no more than the last one, you know. I mean, I work very well with Cameron Webb. He's the producer of the last 4 albums. And he's excellent, you know, I really work well with him. So we're like pretty slick, you know, I mean, by now, 4th album. So we're pretty quick at the with what we do, you know. I mean, we've got a certain technique worked out now, you know. So I was just flying through them, you know, writing the words. And of course, we're under the clock as usual, you know. Oh, quick, you know, you're running out of time. Make more time then, you know. And I was conscious of the fact that we had to do better than the last 3, or we're going to have to fire Cameron, because I can't fire me, you know, so, I don't know, who cares, you know, I mean, every album I put out is crucial, you know, it's, you try and do the best every time, obviously, you know, you don't get any filler on a Motorhead album, you know, there's always a track that you hate 3 weeks later after you've recorded it, but like, there aren't any on this album, not yet, anyway. I haven't got around to hating any of them yet. Yeah. Mind you, I haven't heard it much, so it's all right. I belong to nobody, man, I belong to me. The fact that we appealed to the punks was because we sounded like a punk band. They saw the picture later, and they had long hair, you know, they were stuck with it by then. But we always had the 2 audiences. We were the only ones in London that could play to both crowds, you know, they both show up and, like, coexist in the place, you know what I mean, for the sake of the music, which is exactly the point, you know, because it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what your haircut is, you know, you can all enjoy the music, right? And I like to see black people at our shows too. We got a few more now on this tour, and that's great, you know. Everybody should mix up, because we're all mixed up anyway, so you might as well, you know. It's too late to be racist, you know, I mean, and I don't understand racism, you know, I never understood it. I can't understand the fact you could hate somebody from half a mile away and never even speak to him and hate him. You know, that's so dumb. You know, I mean, you know, there's black and white and Japanese or whatever assholes. There are always plenty of assholes. But until you speak to people, you never know which they are, you know, good guy or an asshole. And you give them that chance, you know. That's the only thing I'm prejudiced against is assholes, you know. Well, what it is, they're looking at it through Motorhead eyes, you see, which is me, you know, like, every one of us is an ego maniac, you know. So. But it was a film about me, you see, so I tried to tell them that, but of course I can't really tell them, so I got the film guys to tell them, so blame them, you know. So I have no control over what they think of it, no, because, you know, it's not that kind of a band. Not being there at the edit. No, I was, you know, some days you'd feel like filming something, the next day you don't, you know. And the next day you would, like, bundle up the camera and stick it down the throat, you know. But, like, we managed to grit our teeth and see it out, you know. I was always glad when the day came to an end I could say, f*** off, you know. And that happened quite a bit, I must admit. But they were good guys, you know, they were as little intrusive as possible. They were pretty good, you know. 36 this year, isn't it? Woo! It's silly, you know, I mean, there's just numbers in it, you know, after all. I ain't been counting them, you know, I don't care. Nothing to me. It's just my band has been going for another year, that's all. You know, so what? Well, if there was a secret, and I told you, it wouldn't be a secret anymore, would it? I don't have any tips to pass on about longevity, you know what I mean? I mean, if you don't die, you'll keep going, right? And if you don't give up, then you'll also keep going, as long as you don't die. Yeah, it's quite simple. That's the formula for survival, not dying. Don't know about shocked, amazed, grateful, because if anybody deserves to live a long time, it's Keith Richards. It's never been at this point before. It's never been at the point where the record companies are strangling themselves at the last gasp, and in 10 years they're all going to be gone, thing of the past, you know. Unless some of them learn to work with the internet, right? Because that's the way it is. And all they could do was sue people. How are you going to sue, like, 55 million people? It's not going to work, is it, you know? Imagine the court costs. You know, it's just stupid, that. You've got to learn to work with it. It's all-pervasive, all-knowing, all-seeing, you know. It's like God in a box, you know. So you've got to work with it, you can't work against it. We just release downloads as well as albums, you know, that's all. It's selling pretty well in both media, you know. Fine with me. I don't mind how people hear it, I just want them to hear it, you know. That's the point, isn't it? Get it across to as many people as you can. That's a great thing with the internet, you know. The bad thing about the internet is people think we should give them the music for nothing, which I think is, like, vastly naive, you know. How the f*** are you supposed to keep going if you give your music away for nothing? How do they think we get the money? Think we got rich parents or something? You know, there'll always be a future for music, man. People always want to hear music. It's the only thing left that isn't political. I mean, some of it's obviously political, but the good stuff isn't, you know. And as soon as a band gets involved in politics, they go straight down the toilet, you know, as far as I can see. That's what killed the Clash, I think, you know. They were all politics all the time, you know, and then in the end, nobody listened to the music. It was all just the image and the politic, you know. No, really, fucking Ramones were excellent. The Ramones were a ray of hope when all around is dark, you know what I mean? It was like that. I the Ramones. I always thought we were the English Ramones, you know, kind of. And then I wrote the song for him. And Joey burst into tears when I played it for him the first time. On a little Walkman with a set of headphones, you know. So listen to this, Joey. Some fucking auditorium in New York somewhere. It was stupid. You know, because nobody stupid lasts this long in the music business, believe me. Yeah, I mean, you know, the idiots in leather jackets, you know. I mean, I don't wear a leather jacket. It's too warm in LA, you know. Well, the Grammys thing is because we're too rough for them, you know. They like to have presentable people for the red carpet to walk up and down like film stars at the Oscars, you know. And they want it to be nice and orderly and just not have any of those filthy long hairs around, you know. So they gave us our stuff in the afternoon. We got our Grammy in the afternoon, right? Along with all the Puerto Rican jazz bands and, you know, I was so sorry for Slipknot, man, because they were in the same category fighting for it. And they were all wearing the full masks and everything. It was a really hot day, man, and it was all glass one side of the room. And they must have been like, when they got home, it must have been microwaved, you know what I mean? And they didn't get it, even, you know. That's the trouble with masks, see. If they're really a good mask, it's got to be full head, hasn't it? And then it's really warm. I mean, you can't build a little propeller in there, you know what I mean? It don't work. I don't have any. I haven't got any pedals, you know. I don't have any visual aids. I mean, it's too late, you know. Look, yeah. No, we don't go in for much like that. I once sang a song with the MC5 and I had the words taped to a pillar, which was conveniently in front of the stage. I read it all the way through. That's the only cheating I've ever done, yeah. Well, I'm just doing it, and if they want to come along, then they can, you know. If they want to leave, then it's up to them, but I've been lucky with these two. These two have stuck with me a long time now. I mean, Phil's been with me 27 years, you know, and Mickey for 16 or something like that. Well, ever since we started releasing things in America, somebody somewhere said, "This is your year, Lemmy." And it wasn't, you know, so I ain't getting too excited, you know. No, it's just the same show. I mean, if you're playing support at a festival, if you're not the top slot, which we usually aren't, then, although we have been lately, but that's in Europe, you have to play a shorter set, you know, so 45 minutes is a doddle, you know, I mean, that's simple. It's like being on holiday, you know what I mean, and getting up for a blow with the local guys. Well, you know, it's different every night, right? You know, so it's a different few chicks dotted about in the sea of men that come to our shows. Although we seem to be doing a bit better for that lately too. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody's bringing them in a bus or something. I don't know. It's it's pretty good playing live every night. Because the only drag is that sometimes it's a fucking long drive and then you have to go on stage after you've been stuck on the bus for hours, you know. But usually we travel overnight, so we get a few hours kept, you know, and get up and then we're there. That's favourite, you know. I hate driving or flying especially and then play the same day. Too much like hard work. But, well, I always said, are you going to put a on it? And they said no. I said, well, it's not going to see much action then, is it? Like, you know, action figure, yeah. Poser it is, that figure. It's just posing. Yes, anatomically realistic is what I prefer to say. Well, we've got a new Headcat album coming out, my other band, you know, Son, Jim and Danny. That's coming out, I think, in May or June. So we'll see. That's about it for now. I mean, that's enough, isn't it? Jesus.